But the first one we're going to do is most likely to lead the team in touchdowns. Now, we know Kevin Stefanski is kind of changing up the offense from what we saw last year. We know it's going to be a run-focused offense, but we also know tight ends are going to be a big part of it. And on top of that, you have two pretty prolific receivers on the outside. So how do you see that category going? Who's going to lead this team in touchdowns this year?
This one, I think it's tough. We've been talking all week about how we've got, is this guy going to have 1,000 this, and that guy's going to have 1,000 this. And touchdowns, because of the weapons on this offense are hard to predict. But I think I have to go with Nick Chubb here, because the one thing that I think that we are going to see and be sure of is the fact that they are going to run the ball. And I think he will be the workhorse to do that. And I think that he will be the one that will be punching it in the most on the goal line.
Yeah, I think it comes down to what they end up doing in the red zone. Last year there was a lot of frustration over how the Browns, their approach to the red zone. It seemed like Landry and Beckham were kind of decoys all the time. You had a lot of passes going towards tight ends. There was an outcry of just give Chubb the ball, He ended up leading the Browns in touchdowns last year. He had 8 overall. Dalvin Cook led the Vikings, if we want to compare, last year's offense with the Vikings to what the Browns might have. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. The amount of passes he's going to see, he had like 43 passes, which was almost as much as Chubb had all year. Mm-hmm. I think him in the passing game and getting touchdowns that way is going to just kind of combine with what he does on the ground, and it's going to be close. I think both those guys are probably going to lead the team in touchdowns, but I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. I think his versatility kind of wins out there. Most likely to lead the team in targets. I didn't want to go with receptions necessarily. I wanted to go with, who's going to see the most balls coming their way. And of course you got Beckham and Landry had over 130 targets each. I think both were in the top 10 in the NFL last year in targets, which is wild because what did we talk about all last season? How they weren't getting the ball to Beckham, but they were trying. And then you got Austin Hooper, who had 97 targets last year with the Falcons. Pretty sure he was top 5 in the NFL among tight ends. What's your pick there for targets?
Once again, it's very difficult because it's a brand new play caller. It's a brand new offense. So we can't go off anything that we saw last year here. We have to project what we think Kevin Stefanski or Alex Van Pelt will be calling. But I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry here, just because I think that Baker Mayfield has a comfort level with him. I think that, I think Chad O'Shea is talking about using Jarvis on a lot of these option routes, and he's going to be doing some really cool things with him. I think Jarvis is really excited about it. I think that they're going to scheme him and Odell open more this year so that those guys will be freed up to catch more passes and get more targets. And I just think that Baker trusts him. So I'm going to go with Jarvis.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. I'm going to say Landry too, just because of he's become the comfort guy for Beckham, and maybe for Baker. Maybe Beckham kind of works his way into that this year. If you have a whole training camp, again, we have no off-season workouts again between Baker and Beckham, but having that whole year last year, maybe that closes the gap a little bit. But I think Landry is just the guy that he's going to look to first. Hooper's 97 targets last year. That's a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he's second. I wouldn't be surprised if just the tight ends in general are second and third on this team in targets. I know for one thing, Landry and Beckham are not going to get anywhere near 130 targets apiece this season. I'm not sure that can really happen with this offense and what they want to do, and the fact that, again, you got tight ends, multiple tight ends on the field, a lot that you're going to try and get the ball to. So I think we're on the same page, and Landry kind of wins that. Who do you think is most likely to be the team's best rookie?
Well, this is a great question and another tough one. I'm going to say Grant Delpit because I think it's a position where he has an opportunity to step in and to start and to make an impact right away. And it also seems to me like LSU guys, they just come in ready to play some NFL football. They make an impact early on, and they end up playing really, really well. So, I just think he's that sort of flashy kind of player. Now, Jedrick Wills could quietly put together a really, really nice season at left tackle, and that is obviously the hope. but left tackle isn't as flashy at safety. So if Grant Delpit can get his hands on some footballs, force some fumbles, make some big game-changing plays, and be sort of that enforcer at safety that I think the Browns believe that he can be, I would say he could be the guy.
Yeah, I think Delpit's the guy who week in, week out has a chance to make those impact plays that you're going to remember. I'm going to go with Jedrick Wills. The more I think about it, the more confident I am that he's going to make that switch and be able to perform well at left tackle. I think it's tough to hit the ground running at left tackle and deal with, you know, the best pass rushers in the NFL every week. But I think just from what we've heard from the Browns, from what we know of his tape, and from what we've heard from guys like Joe Thomas about how he plays and his ability to make that switch, I'm going to say Jedrick Wills. I think Grant Delpit's going to make the plays that you remember, but I think at the end of the year, Jedrick Wills is maybe the most likely to be on an all-rookie team.